Because I have a listing of who's all attending, I have your email addresses, so I will make a point to send all of this out to you.
Yeah.
So you'll have everything. There's some resources and references that are at the end of these slides that I think will be helpful to you, and that if you want to do a deeper dive in these areas, we'll provide that potential for doing that deeper dive. Two of the things are two courses that City Vision University offers, so we'd love to have any of you sign up for any of those too. But there's two main areas that I'm going to concentrate on. One is what's referred to as the lean startup, and the other one is that business model canvas. In the lean startup, it's a way to get a business started and to try to do it in a way so that you avoid failure, or you learn where your failure points are going to be and to try to overcome those. And there's a cycle here. You have what you want to build, whatever it may be. And the diversity among rescue missions, there are more and more coming up with temporary employment services. Of course, thrift stores has been a traditional one over the years, but there's also landscaping businesses. We heard this morning about coffee, brewing coffee, and there's a number of missions that have that. A number of missions have coffee shops that they've established. The Charlotte mission has a beautiful coffee shop on their campus, or at the edge of their campus. Let me see, I mentioned landscaping. Cookies, okay. Very good. There was another one that did window washing. They were in a city and there were a lot of stores downtown, and they came up with a window washing service. Another one did some janitorial services. There's probably no end to the inventiveness of what you can really come up with on some of the things. But of social enterprises, the last figure I heard was about 90% end up failing if they don't have a good plan to do it. And so, and some testing that goes along with that. And that's the whole idea of a lean startup, that you have that idea of building, and as great as a vision is of some individuals, that vision may not be very realistic, and you have to consider that. I'm trying to remember one quote that I saw recently. Passion does not compensate for ignorance. And there's certainly a point to that. And so this idea of a lean startup, of the project that you want to build, and then to have what might be the minimum viable product, the simplest product that you could think of, whether it's just if you were entering some area where you wanted to start a thrift store, you just wanted to do men and women's clothing or something of that sort, and what that minimum could be. If you were starting out with a window washing project that you identify 2 people maybe that you could start it with, and you have that simplest kind of project that you're doing. Then the idea of measuring how you're doing on that. How did things flow? Did we get the windows clean? And Durham Rescue Mission is fantastic at measuring things in their thrift stores. They have the best of what I have seen. So you guys are doing great on measuring and creating that data or data down there at the bottom. So that is so important, and that's one of the things that you want to do. You want to collect that information to understand what's going on. If you're doing the window washing, did part not get clean, or whatever else it may be? Was the owner of the store not satisfied because you came at his busiest time and everybody was trying to get in and out and you were blocking the way by washing the windows. And learning is the other part of the cycle, to learn from all of that. And I know that's what you guys are doing in Durham, to try to learn that, okay, what works best? Where are we getting the most sales? What's creating the most profit for us? And then to be able to pivot, to make that change that you need to make so that, okay, we're going to wash the windows not at that busiest time, but we're going to move it to that other time so that we have a better service for these people. And then the cycle starts all over again. And you see what you're building and you go around, and the testing that is to take place so that you see, is this thing really going to work, and to get the input. There are ways that people have tried to do that with a thrift store. Some missions that started out with a thrift store started saying, okay, we have this back garage that's accessible to the public if we make it so, and we're going to run a clothing sale once a month. And so we're going to learn from that, and we're just going to stock it with a few of the minimum products that we can, that we think would be most appealing to people, and begin to learn from that and see what kind of flow that they have, and do that for several months, you know, that they maybe did it on Saturdays or the first Saturday of every month, something of that sort would be a way to test. Another way that some have done is a pop-up station of some sort, where maybe somebody has thought about that coffee idea and wants to try it, and maybe they could order some bags of coffee from Brian and get a little stock and have a pop-up stand at some street fair that's taking place, and not commit, you know, great resources to it, but to try that as an effort. I think for some of the temporary agencies, the employment agencies, learning from others is another part. I don't know whether you went anyplace else or you just did it on your own to look to get it started. Okay. I know. There you go. Okay, good. Miracle Hill at Greenville also has a temporary employment agency. And I know there's a number of other missions. They're not coming to mind right at the moment, but they exist. So, but starting small and testing that idea is part of the Lean Startup. And there's a whole book that's I list in the references of Lean Startup for Social Enterprises that can give you a lot fuller look at this and some of the ideas for testing different things and seeing whether there's really going to be a demand out there for whatever the product or service is that you're looking at. The big portion of the time that I'm going to spend is on this business model canvas. And so if you write down a few things, you have the start of your business, written business plan on this. But I'm gonna ask a series of questions in each of these different boxes, and it's the areas that you need to be thinking about along that way and taking a closer look at to see whether the business is going to be viable and whether you're going to be able to put things together properly. The first one is that very center one, the value propositions of what you're doing in your enterprise. What value are you going to deliver to the customer? For some of your clothing, you're meeting a need for them that they can find low-priced clothing or a low-priced briefcase or suitcase. I enjoyed shopping the Durham thrift store one time, one of the stores, and managed to pick up some luggage and a hat, and the price was right, definitely. So that was good, and you delivered that value to me as a customer. Delivering that value, what is that value as far as the window washing, the coffee, the other things that your customer wants. And we'll get in a little bit later to some other aspects. For instance, the coffee one is a good example that we'll look at some values that are there that are not immediately apparent. Which one of our customers' problems are we helping to solve? Is it the clothing one? Is it our customer that doesn't have the labor that they need, but they just need somebody 3 days a week, where they have a particular project that they're going to need 12 guys on? So what problem are we helping to solve for them? The other question on the value proposition is, what bundles of products and services are we offering to each customer segment? And we'll get into customer segments a little bit later, but what is that we're going to offer? When I was developing my TSARE LLC, I was looking at, okay, what services am I going to offer in consulting? I'm going to offer board governance kinds of issues. I'm going to offer some recruitment kinds of services. I'm not going to offer fundraising counsel. I stayed out of that side of it, although I would refer them to other organizations. So, and deciding what kind of business you're not going to be in, or what products and services you're not going to offer too, is an important side of that. You don't want to try to do everything, and so to concentrate on those things that are appropriate. And what customer needs are we satisfying becomes the question in that value proposition. For me, certainly in talking about board governance, the need to have a structure and a operating board that operated at the best practices level was one of the things that I saw many missions needing. So there was that need that I was trying to satisfy. And there's a whole bunch of characteristics that fall into all of those questions then that are listed here, whether it's the performance or the customization for some people, getting the job done. You know, if the window isn't clean, if you're doing a window washing service, you've got to get that job done properly. The design and the brand status of what you're offering. Lots of times we may not think of brand and status in thrift store or in coffee, but there is a brand and status and identity there. The customer that's buying Brian's coffee has an identification that, you know, when I drink my coffee in the morning, I'm helping homeless people. And there's an identification with that. And they may even brag to their neighbor that, oh, I drink this special coffee, you know, in the morning. And so there's that. A number of us were bragging down at the vendor hall the other day, I buy all my stuff from thrift stores, you know. I said, boy, I must be higher class. I'd get mine at Costco. So, you know, so that identity sometimes. The things that you want to look at in that value proposition, how can you reduce your costs? How can you reduce your risk on some of those things in the temporary employment? You have certain risks there and certain insurance things that you have to consider and other things of that sort, so how to deal with that. The accessibility, the convenience and usability are all things to be considered in that value proposition. So looking at that and filling out some of those things and putting them down in writing. There's comment by somebody that's going through my mind, if it's not in writing, it doesn't exist, you know. And so the importance of getting some of those things in writing, and some of the procedures, and some of your goals, and things of that sort. But another very important part is that first box over there, the customer segments that we need to take a look at. For whom are we creating value? Who's those people that we really want to address as our customers? And to try to drill down into that, you know, it may be, we don't want to just say, okay, we want the whole general public to take part in our thrift stores, but to realize that the primary customer is probably going to be a woman between the ages of 21 and 65, someplace in there. And so, yeah, you want to have men's clothes, but it's probably going to be more important to have more women's clothes. And maybe your data has shown what's selling in some of those particular. Okay. We wear them to wear out, and that's the situation. So, so realizing those for whom we're creating the value, and who are our most important customers. Who we're the volume to, who we're selling the high-priced things in, who's going to be the key store that we're washing the windows of because he's president of the business association, and if we're doing it for him, then that's going to be a key customer because he's going to talk about that someplace along the line that he has that service. So who are our most important customers? Who's providing us that revenue? In that, so that's something that we want to take a look at. And what type of people we're serving and interacting with. This whole business model in social enterprise does go to those programs that we're trying to earn money from, but it can also be used in other programs that we're providing. In a child care program, in our rehab programs. We know the people that we're serving and interacting with in those recovery programs, but identifying the characteristics of them helps us to better serve them. And if we do that in maybe the money-making social enterprise, it helps us to serve them better. So putting some of that down and recognizing that and collecting that information so that yeah, at certain points we're going to the mass market, but there may be a niche market that we want to establish a boutique in the corner of our thrift store that has these special antique items or something of that sort, and the group that we're going to go to there, and how we segment those people. Rob shared the other day about the new store that they opened, and that one of the things that he did in advertising that was to send an email blast out to, and that the first day sales were higher than
any other day we've ever had one store. I don't remember the number, but it was 20, what was it, like 21?
Net was 17,490 something.
Net meaning after 6. Yeah.
yeah. So that